welcome again to the class. Now without wasting any time, let us continue with the topic labor that we did in the previous video. Now in the previous video we have started chapter number 3, that was labor, and in that we have done the meaning of labor, we have done types of labor, we have done the characteristics of labor. Now in this we will be doing that what are those factors which affect the supply or which affect the availability of labor in an economy or a country, right? So the first topic, the first point is population. Now what happens is that labor is not available 365 days 24/7 in an economy. Labor also have some working hours, they also have some timing, they also have some limits, and they also have some demands, right? Now availability of labors or supply of labors depend upon certain factors, and that factors depend that factors also vary from city to city, district to district. Geographically they vary, right? Like first one is your population. Now how population restricts or how population affects the supply of labor in an economy. See, the most important factor affecting the supply of labor is its population. The larger the population, the larger will be the number of persons who will have the capacity to perform physical or mental work. Hence, the larger will be the supply of labor. Now, population. See, the larger the population, the larger the supply of the labor, or the larger the availability of people working for some purpose, working for some project. The smaller the number, the smaller the opportunities, the smaller the availability or the supply of labor in an economy. So population it affects the supply of labor in a very impressive manner, right? Supply of labor, it largely depends upon population. The larger the population will be, the larger the availability and supply of labor will be. The smaller the population is, the smaller the number of population is, the smaller the opportunities or availability or supply of labor will be there in an economy. Now second is your migration. Now children, you have been studying this migration from very junior classes. Migration means to migrate, right? Like birds also migrate from some region to the other regions. In the same manner, people also migrate from one economy to the other economy, or from one region to the other region. Like students, they also migrate from one region, from one country, or from one state, from one place to the other place in order to grab higher education or in order to have jobs. Certain points are there, certain reasons are there. Right. In the same manner, migration also affects the availability or supply of labor. How? Now people, they are migrating from one place to the other place in search of job, in search of job opportunities, in search of opportunities of higher studies, better environment, etc., etc. Right. So migration happens, and this affects the availability or supply of labor, because the people, they are migrating from worst condition to the bad condition, and then to the better, and then to the best, right? So people migrate from Nepal to India. Why? Because over here the wages are higher than comparison to with the Nepal. The wages are higher, the weather conditions are higher, the economy is stable, the economy is developed than Nepal. So people are migrating from there to India, people are migrating from Nepal to India. Why? In search of jobs, in search of better job environment, better job opportunities, better wages, better salaries, then better environment, better health conditions, and eventually for better living standard, right? So migration is also done. Next we have is efficiency of labor. Now efficiency of labor also affects the supply of labor in an economy, because the labor has to be efficient. You cannot work, and the work which you are doing, if the work is done by an inefficient labor, that is zero, that is equivalent to zero, because you are not getting anything in that work, you are not getting any output. The person is working for 8 hours or he is working for 18 hours, he'll give you zero output. Why? Because he's not efficient. But if a labor is efficient, he will work for 4 hours and he will give you output which will be equivalent to 8 hours, and he will work in a better mindset. With a better mindset, with a better mental condition, with a better mental health, he will work, and therefore he will provide you with good, better outputs. Right? So therefore, efficiency of labor also, it hampers the supply of labor in an economy. Right? Then we have is climate. Very, very important. Climate. Climate also, supply of labor is also dependent on climate, because see, if you are working in a better condition, if you are working in a good climate, you will work in a better manner, right? If I made you sit under the sunlight, if I make you sit under the sun, what will happen? You will not be able to work. Why? Because you will not feel comfortable. Okay, the sun will hit you, you will not feel comfortable, you will not feel good. Some might faint, some might get exhausted, some might start vomiting, they might get dehydrated, and etc, etc. So this is climate. Better climate, better work, better mental health. Bad climate, bad work, bad mental health. So supply of labor also depends upon climate. People, they shift from place to place, or they shift from one task to the other task, or from one side to the other side. Why? Because they are getting good climate, they are getting good climatic conditions, they are getting better environment, they are getting a harmonious environment to work in, from one place to the other place. So definitely they will shift from A task to B task, or from A side to the B side, right? So this is climate. And climate also is a major factor for supply or availability of labor in an economy. Then we have is working hours. And working hours is also very, very important. Right? This is also very important, because it is also very important because we also are affected by working hours. If I tell you to study for 24 hours, you will not be able to study for 24 hours. Right? Why? Because you have a limit. We have a limit. We have an ending point, we have a saturation point. Saturation point means we have a maximum point, maximum limit, that we have reached to this limit, and after that, beyond that limit, we are not able to produce something, we are not able to reciprocate something, we are not able to reply to anything which is being told to us, which is being asked to us, right? So therefore, working hours is also very important, because working hours have to be very simple, and they have to be in favor of the workers, in favor of the laborers, and everybody comes over here, whether it is a student, whether it is a teacher, whether it is a labor, doctor, lawyer, anybody. Working condition is very important, because working conditions have to be very healthy. Maximum to maximum 8 to 10 hours a person can work. But after that, he'll get exhausted. His body will exhaust, his mind will exhaust. So supply of labor also highly depends upon working hours. People will shift from A site to B site if they are getting good and better working hours over there, right? If a person is told to work for 15 hours, and if a person is given 10 hours to work, definitely he will switch from 15 to 10, because working hours are less. They are favorable. They are healthy. Right? So this is what our factors are which affect the supply. Now next one is that division of labor. Now how labor is being divided. Now how labor is being divided. Now labor is being divided now, like as you people are divided into two sections, that is your commerce and then there is science. Now in the same manner, likewise the labor is also divided into several sections, but we will be doing just few sections which are important. Like first is your simple and complex division of labor. First is your simple and complex division of labor. Now, a modern society is characterized by different occupations. For instance, one group of people is engaged in agriculture, another is a group of industrial workers. Similarly, traders, doctors, lawyers, teachers, they are different group of people. This division of labor force into different occupation is called simple division of labor or occupational division of labor. Now, see, this is also known as, simple is also known as occupational. Right, this is also known as occupational. Occupational means that the workers, the laborers are being divided according to their occupations, according to what occupation they hold, what the occupation they are in, they will be divided. Like example, a surgery is only done by a doctor, a lawyer cannot do the surgery. The clients, the clients are being attended by the lawyer, a teacher cannot do that. Sessions, lectures is given by the teacher, lawyer, doctor cannot do that, right? So, simple division of labor is also known as occupational division of labor, which means that the labor is being divided into different sectors, into different parts according to their occupation, according to the degrees, according to the profession that they hold. And then we have is complex division of labor. It means that, for instance, in an automobile factory, one sees different works engaged in the production of different parts of automobiles. One group may be concerned with the manufacturers of the engines. Another may be engaged in the manufacturing of chairs. Still another may have the job of producing the body, fitting the wheels, etc. This is known as complex. Now, complex means that where one person or where one group of labor is doing different tasks, whether they are related or they are not related, but they are doing different tasks. So complex means that a person or a group of laborers doing different types of tasks. Then we have is complete and incomplete. We will not do that. Then we have is international division of labor within a country. Okay, and division of labor within a country. We will not do this also. Then we have this horizontal and vertical division of labor. Let's do this. First is vertical and then we have this horizontal. Okay, then we have this horizontal. Now see, horizontal is that one can distinguish between the different parts of the production, different either horizontally or vertically. When the process of production is divided between different parts in such a way that the different parts of the process can run simultaneously, we have a horizontal division of labor. Right? For example, the parts can be assembled together. The division of labor between the workers engaged in producing engines and those engines is in producing bodies is an example of horizontal division of labor. Now, horizontal division of labor means where one task is assigned into different stages. Right? Where one task is assigned into different stages, and the different stages is giving you what? Is giving you output. Right? This is your horizontal. Like when one stage is done, then the other stage happens, and then the third stage happens, and this is your horizontal labor. This is your horizontal division of labor, where everything is done simultaneously. Right? Where you have a step, where you have a process. So every step is done in a sequence. Where is your vertical division of labor? On the other hand, one can think of the successive stages of production of a commodity. For example, in order to produce cotton textile products, raw cotton has been transformed into yarn by spinning. Now, this is also division of labor where, but it is just that it moves in this manner. Right? It moves in this manner, but they are same. Both are same, that they are related to stages. They are related to steps, like producing steps. Like once, like if you want to make chapati, so what you will do? First you will take the flour, right? Then you will make a dough out of it. Then you will make balls out of it. And then you will roll that balls into a form of chapati, and then you will steam your chapati, or then you will make your final product. So this is horizontal and this is your vertical, right? So in this video we'll be doing just these two topics. In the next video I will be completing with the advantages and disadvantages, right? And I hope you understood whatever is being taught in this video. Till then, take care. Bye.